Shalom, family. Happy Sabbath and happy Feast of Dedication. I pray that you're doing well. Pray that all is peaceful with you and your house. This would be considered an informative briefing, if you will. Informative briefing via the scripture. I was going to call it a rant, but I don't rant very well. Let's get some information. Hurricane Ian, death toll grows. Let's look at this article right quick. This is out of the Yahoo News. And it's important to know this. There's a few other things that we're going to get an opportunity to take a look at. At least 23 people in Florida have died because of Hurricane Ian, state officials said Friday. The true death toll from the powerful Category 4 storm that devastated parts of the state could go higher. The number released by Florida Medical Examiner Commission have been confirmed to be related to the storm after autopsies. Most of the 23 drowned. Death is on the horizon. Death is on the horizon. Let's grab another one. Let's see, where is this? It's important to look at some of these to know what's going on. Now, if you're not being affected by Hurricane Ian, that's good. I pray for peace in your household, but I pray for those who, a lot of our people are suffering from this hurricane. Charleston, historic downtown Charleston sees flooding, downed trees from Hurricane Ian. Hurricane Ian made landfall in Georgetown, South Carolina, Friday afternoon, just north of Charleston. In the town's historic downtown, Channel 9 reporter Jonathan Lowe could see the storm was already having a major impact by noon on Friday. At 10:30 a.m., Lowe could see the water slowly rise near the open air market. Strong winds pushed the waters further and further into downtown. By the time the eye wall made landfall just after 2 p.m., Lowe said rain and wind had picked up, leading to downed trees and power lines. It's worse. The path of this destruction is devastating. I'm going to grab one more just to give an idea that this is not a joke. This is the Daily Beast. Maddie Bender. Hurricane Ian leaves dozens dead, millions without power. Days after Hurricane Ian landfall in Florida as Category 4 hurricane, the state is reeling from the effects of the storm. The death toll has risen to at least 52, according to ABC News, and it is expected to grow as more drowned victims are discovered. Lee County Sheriff's Office, which encompasses Fort Myers, said at least 35 lives were lost in the county, according to ABC News. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster said Saturday that his state had not seen any deaths due to the hurricane and was open for business. What's going on? In case many didn't know, on another note in the world news, President Zelensky of Ukraine has signed up to be part of NATO. And the NATO officials are looking into allowing him into NATO. Now, once he's a member of NATO, then that means that Russia and NATO would be at war, hence World War III. Not to mention all of the strange deaths that have been taking place and among our people throughout the world. And as a recent shooting, I don't have the information on that one, of a young black male being gunned down by police officials in Germany using machine guns. There is a war on our people that is literally across the globe. Many people don't have a clue that this is taking place because they're being shown all types of disturbing videos that mostly skin flicks, the twerking, the this, the that. But I wanted to really touch bases after reading those. I wanted to give some type of scriptural understanding. In the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, make sure this is where I was earlier. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon. It's important to note that the book of Wisdom of Solomon brings out a lot of wisdom. Chapter 14 and verse 9, it reads, "For the immoral and his wickedness are both alike hateful unto Elohim. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it." And that's a very interesting point. I'll show you why. Let's pick that up in Habakkuk 2 and 18. And it says, Habakkuk 2 and 18 says, "What profit the graven image that the maker thereof hath graven it, the molten image and a teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusteth therein, to make dumb idols." So here we are. And remember, it's important to know what's going on. It's important to know this. Let's jump back to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and I believe it's 64. Let's read what it says. "And the Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other deities." Those graven image, other deities, "which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." So check it out. What are you wearing today? What idol do you have up on your wall that the gravener, the image, the guy who makes it made, and he tells you, pay homage to this, put this in your heart? This is what happened. This is the results. All of these things is taking place. But let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon. Let's jump back up to Wisdom of Solomon and verse 11. It says, "Therefore, even upon the idols of the Goy," the nations, "shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of Elohim they are become an abomination and a stumbling block to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise." So there's a visitation. This is where it gets crazy. We heard about the hurricanes and all these things is taking place, but what is this visitation? What is this visitation that we're talking about? Well, in the book of Nahum, chapter 1, and verse 2 and 3, let's read and find out what is the scripture talking about. In chapter 2, it says, "Elohim is jealous, and the Yahweh revengeth. The Yahweh revengeth and is furious. The Yahweh will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies." So clearly, he's letting you know trouble's coming. But how? Let's read on. In verse 3, it says, "The Yahweh is slow to anger, and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Yahweh hath his way in the whirlwind, and in the storm, and in the clouds are the dust of his feet. That is letting you know he's working in the storms. But let's get some more on this. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, we're talking about the storms because we're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Why are all these things happening? I mean, we're seeing today a great phenomenon. I mean, there's fish in the desert. I don't know if you saw that video. You should check it out. Fish in the desert. I believe it's the somewhere in the Arabian desert. I don't have the detail exactly where it is, but you got fish coming down like a stream in the desert. Crazy. But here, Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 6, it reads, "Thou shalt be visited of the Yahweh of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire." Wow. Devouring fire. That has yet to happen. But many of us are witness to what? The storms that's taking place. Many of us see these storms. They're taking place as we speak. All these things are happening. It's crazy. Yes, it is. The question is, who are you serving? Who's your Elohim? Who have you attached yourself to, and who are you honoring? Are you honoring the deities of this world, or are you honoring our Father? It's something to be said because many of us, unfortunately, have lost our way, and we're calling on the devil. Many of us are not only calling on the devil, we're calling on every form of witchcraft, thinking, if the Father's not going to help us, then I'll go over to witchcraft because we gotta do something. Who did that? Recall. Remember the first king of Israel, King Saul? He did that. He went to a witch in Endor because the father, because of his sin, first and foremost, he caused the father to step away from him, remove the spirit from him. And so here he is. Now, going back to Wisdom of Solomon, this is important. Back to Wisdom of Solomon. We left off on verse 14 and verse 11. It says, "Therefore, even upon the idols of the Goy nations shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of Elohim they are become an abomination and a stumbling block to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise." Verse 12. "For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life." You devised these things to have people to follow after you the commandments of men. Many times it was done to our people to keep us down, to keep us away so that the wicked can continue to do their wickedness. Let's read on. It says, "For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever." It's only a season. There's only a time and a short while, but the stirring of the pot of the storms, the fire and raging. Let's jump back. Let's read that again in Isaiah 29 and verse 6. "Thou shalt be visited of the Yahweh of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire." That's coming. You wonder, where are those fires coming from? There's a report coming out of Georgia that many people are fleeing Russia. Yes, they're fleeing Russia. Going where? They're going into Georgia. No, not Georgia in America, but Georgia, Russia. They're going into Georgia. Something is afoot. Something is about to happen. And when the compilation of NATO come together and say, okay, we're going to come together and we will look out for Ukraine. For some reason, Ukraine has become some, pivotal country, but you only need one. You do the history and you find out that most wars started with one, like tipping of the tea kettle in the flames of fire. Something like that during the Chicago fire. There's more to that. Let's read back. Let's get back over to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, verse 13. We had verse 14. For by the vain glory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. See, to some of us, that's a long shortly. Yes, the vain glory of men, they will come shortly to an end. There will be no trace of them when they do come to an end, but many will follow after them, and their fate will be the same as those that followed them. Verse 15, for a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honoreth him as a deity. Sound familiar? Some of us were, when our children died, we made statues and we bowed down to them and we called them saints and saint this and saint that, and we bowed down to them and we wear amulets and we kiss them and we say, I pray that Saint so and so will look out for me. The saint, the patron saint of this and the patron saint of that. Where do you get this idolatry from? You wonder why these places full of storms. The earth is literally about to vomit the evil and wickedness out, because the earth wants to be peaceful. I often wonder, what is about to happen? If you've been viewing the wrong things on media, you've been lost, or had your head under a rock. It's time to wake up. And let's read that again, verse 15. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honoreth him as a deity, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. You see what we've done? There's ceremonies and sacrifices. All these things that were done were not done to our good, but to our destruction. Let's read on. Thus, in the process of time, an immoral custom grown strong was kept as a law. Now, that custom had become something great, where you must bow down to this. You must do this. And if you do not do this, you shall die. That's what it's saying here. Thus, in the process of time, an immoral custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandment of kings. Sounds familiar? See, in 1524, the J was invented, and thus from the J they gave you the name Jesus, which in the old Latin and Spanish means Jesus. So when you call out, you're saying, "Hey Zeus." You say, "Hey Zeus," or "Baal Zeus." Hear me. What do you mean, Baal Zeus? You say, Lord. Lord is synonymous with Baal. These are the things that are very imperative. How did that happen? Let's read that again. Thus, in the process of time, an immoral custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. There were great wars that was instituted by the Roman Catholic Church. These wars were to, you must do these things or we will kill you. These things have happened before and they're happening now. Let's get some more. Let's read some more on that a little bit further down. It says, whom men could not honor in presence, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. See, they took those images. In the beginning, it was Caesar Borgia. And then Caesar Borgia was later named Jesus. And so the whole world calls upon Jesus, for which Hamashiach was never known as Jesus. Where did that name come from? Never known as Christ. But it's so imperative, and it's to the point today, it says, oh, it doesn't matter. You can call the devil and say it's the Most High. It's okay. Really? Who's taught us this foolishness? And that's what it is, foolishness. You see, the craziness of this foolishness has been shown to us over and over and over. Here's an example in the book of First Maccabees. First Maccabees, because this is imperative to note. We were made to bow down to these images, and if you did not, death cometh to thee. So let's read. In the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 41. Let's read down. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. What's happening today? People are saying, you know what, we should all come together. We should all come together, all of us. Remember the Tower of Babel? Sounds familiar? All that rhetoric continues to come back over and over and over. And it's like a plague. It's like a plague. And this plague is crazy because it comes upon us to destroy us. It overtakes you, destroys you. And you often wonder what happened. Some of us know why, and some of us are clueless. Let's read that again. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. We just read that. That was the king's decree. Leave all your laws. What are they telling you today? You don't have to keep the law. Stop it. Don't keep a Sabbath. How dare you keep a Sabbath? You don't have to do that. And we find excuses not to do what the Father says. Here's a footnote. Now, you probably heard this before, but we're just going to drop this one in. In the book of 1 John, chapter 2 and verse 3, it says, hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. Verse 4 says, he that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But wait, you say, but I love him so much. I love him so much. And he says, really? He says, yes, I do. It says, hold that thought. Let's find out if you really do love him. This is important. Jump over to chapter 5 of 1 John, and let's see if you do exhibit love for our Father. In chapter 5 of 1 John and verse 3, it reads, for this is the love of Elohim, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. What? They're not grievous, meaning it's not a burden. So let's jump to 2 John 6. It's like, well, that doesn't mean anything today. Read 2 John 6. It reads, and this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye should walk in it. What do you mean from the beginning? The lawgiver that gave us the law. So you say after those two scriptures, you say, it don't matter. Yah knows my heart. See, he knows my heart. I'm good with him, and so it is, so it shall be. I'm all right. Yah knows my heart. I say, okay, that may be. But what does he say about your heart? Let's find out. So what about your heart? In the book of Jeremiah 17:9, that you so surely say, Yah knows my heart, I'm good. And it says, the heart is deceitful above all things, desperately wicked. Who can know it? Now let's go back. Let me read on. Let's read on. Let's finish that. Read on to verse 10. It says, I, the Yahweh, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. So if you're not walking in his ways or his doings, then you're doing what the king said in the book of Maccabees. Let's go back there. In the book of Maccabees, verse 42 of chapter 1, it reads, and everyone shall leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the king's commandment, or the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. Said, okay, we'll do that. Oh yeah, I like what he says, because, we're going to get something out of this. I'm going to get mine. I don't know about you, but I'm getting mine. This is what happened. Consents to his religion and sacrifice unto idols and profane the Sabbaths. Some folks say, I'll keep the 10 commandments. Yes, I do. I keep the 10. Yeah, we all keep the 10. Today is the Sabbath. Who's keeping the Sabbath? Let's find out. In the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 8, it says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Yahweh, thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Yahweh made heaven and earth, the seas, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Here's a funny. On the Day of Atonement, it's an interesting thing in my household. We have 2 cats, minus our beloved dog. But every year when we'd have the Day of Atonement, everything is put up. And animals, they want to eat. It's like, I want food. Day of Atonement, in case you don't know, is the fasting from sundown, sundown one day into sundown the next day. And the animals, they come and look at us like, did you forget something? We're supposed to eat? See, so it's saying here that the Sabbath is also for your animals. Your animals don't work. They're supposed to keep it. Your manservants and all those people supposed to keep the Sabbath. So go back to 1 Maccabees and find out that, yes, they were profaning the Sabbath. Verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers to Jerusalem and to the city of Yehudah, that they should follow strange laws of the land. In other words, you're going to do what I tell you to do, because I'm the king. In other words, I'm the HNIC around here. You don't do what I tell you, trouble's coming your way. Let's read on. Verse 45. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. Hey, Christianity don't teach you one thing. They don't teach you one high holy day. They teach you none of the holy days of Sabbath. Nothing. But you will do Christmas. You will do Thanksgiving, Halloween, Easter, 4th of July, birthdays, and so on and so on and so forth. You will do what they tell you, because that's what was set up here. This is what happened. Verse 46 says, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beast. How many of y'all sitting there eating pork ribs and pork chops and ham hocks and some chitterlings and all those things on those so-called feast days of yours? You see, this was happening there. Well, no, see, that changed. He changed, didn't he? No, you've been lied to. And you're still following the lies, and you refuse to repent from your ways. Trouble's coming because you refuse to repent. But let's see what happens to those in the context of these storms. These things that have taken hold of so many lives have been changed. And believe me, brothers and sisters, this is not the end. This is only the beginning. Winter's coming. Remember that phrase from Game of Thrones? Winter's coming. Are you sure you want to be in the winter without your coat, capital C-O-A-T, your cloak, capital C-L-O-A-K? Who would that be? Your comforter. That's a question for you. Let's read on. Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable. Clearly, this is talking about a particular people. It's not talking about, as you say, every nation across the world. No. He didn't tell you to turn the other cheek to the Egyptians. He said, get away from them. Get away from them. No. See, people get so screwed up and so... Let's read on. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls an abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. What have we done today? I mean, everybody go to church on Sunday. They call it, I got my church flow going on here. I say, I'm going to tell you, looking good. Got my church flow on Sunday. Get in there and sing my music. And I'm popular. Yeah. I know he's hearing me. Can't say it wasn't happening because I used to do it. Yeah, I was there. I was one who was in the pulpit. I thought what I was doing was correct until such time I was corrected. But then when you are corrected, you're supposed to turn away from that and get out, much like the Apostle Paul did. But a lot of us are still sitting there saying, I don't care what they say. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Stiff-necked. Just hard-headed. He's going to deal with you. It's okay. He's going to deal with you. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said, he should die. He should die. Have you noticed throughout this country, there are areas where there are graveyards that were set up? It's like, who are those for? All those little coffins for? They've been planning this for years. The war has begun. It has already started. Many of us don't even know it. They got their head in the sand. You ain't following this, you're going to die. Let's read on. Verse 51. In the selfsame manner wrote he to the whole kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Yehudah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. And so this is what happened. This is a real deal. This is no joke, people. This is for real. Why are we seeing these things? When the bombs start bursting in the air and the ground start trembling under your feet, then many will cry out and they want the Father to hear them. I want you to hear me. And all the long time that I'm telling you this now, and I'm crying out to you and telling you and telling you and telling you, and you're hearing it, and you're like, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm trying to get my fun on. I'm trying to get my coolness on, whatever you want to call it. You're trying to get that on. And when the ground trembles and the bombs burst in the air, then you cry out. That's when he's going to laugh at you. Oh, yeah. You don't believe that? Watch this. You see, the Most High is not someone to play with, but most people don't believe that. They continue to play with him. That's the best thing I can say. But this is what he says in the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, and let's start at verse 24. Because I have called, and ye refused, as he's doing. He's called, and you refuse. He says, I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded it. But ye have set at naught all my counsel. In other words, you put my counsel over your shoulder. No big deal. I ain't trying to hear that. He says, but ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproofs. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as whirlwind. Did you hear that? Whirlwind, hurricanes, tornadoes, great destruction. Fire also can go into a whirlwind. I learned that one. And if you get around that type of fire, there is no running, because it moves like the wind, and it's most deadly. It says, when your fear comes as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then shall you call upon me. Then shall you call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Yahweh. They were none of my counsels. They despised all my reproofs. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way. I'm going to do this my way. Isn't that a song sang Frank Sinatra? Saying, I did it my way, so you're going to eat the fruit of your way. And be filled with their own devices. This is not a joke. See, the thing that you don't understand, no weapon formed against thee shall prosper. You can't touch the righteous of the Most High. You can't. There's another song, MC Hammer. Can't touch this. Doom, 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 doom. That's the whole thing. Is this a brag? No, this is calling out to you, O children of Israel. Come out from among them, be ye separate, and walk as the Father has commanded you to walk. But some will hear this and some will forbear. It's not for me to sit back, and I don't pass judgment. I don't pass judgment, but I do judge those that are out doing those things that they should not do. I let them know, and I'm out here. That's what the scripture calls us to do. Righteous man judges. He's supposed to judge. But you got some of our people so screwed up in the mind. No, they don't want to be corrected. They don't want to be judged. They don't want anything told to them. They want the Father to come. And that's exactly how he's going to treat you. Oh, so you didn't listen to the people I sent to you? Then you ain't trying to hear me. Because he doesn't play. It is a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the Yahweh. But do your thing. Do your thing. Have it your way. So where are we? We are here on this beautiful Sabbath, and so many are crying, literally. So many are crying for their dead. So many are crying. I mean, if you could hear the cries of the world, it would probably send you into a psychosis. Psychological breakdown is really bad. The sufferings that people are suffering, and yet there's more to come. Because we're in that season. We're in that time. The whirlwind is coming. So that's all we got for now. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 6. And we honor our sister because we were told to honor our sister. And we're told to do that. So therefore, that's what we will do. In Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6, it reads, Now when Yahushua was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman hath done be told for memorial of her. That's important. We honor our sister, as we're commanded to. And with that I say shalom. Peace be unto you.